Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelorette Recap, a guy's review. You know, every once in a while, when people have something to say, we have a voicemail line. You guys can call in, and this weekend, I am going to be playing all of the voicemails I have that I have not yet played from the week. Normally, I go over these, in the live streams, but hey, let's do a dedicated video. These are voicemails from you. Now, as some of you guys know, I asked everyone what Hogwarts house they thought Katie and the gang would be in from, if you watch Harry Potter, people are very opinionated about this. So we got a couple voicemails from that. And also, I wanted to give a shout out. Check this out. Look at this. I just saw this 15 minutes ago. I just gave birth to my baby girl, and I'm watching your video, Dave, from Saudi Arabia. Is it Manal? Thank you so much for that, and congratulations on becoming a mom. That is incredible. Nothing like my videos to calm you down. You're in Saudi Arabia giving birth, and I'm like, listen, let me tell you something about... Okay, let's get right into it. Here's our first voicemail here. Let's see what... I don't know who this is from.
Hi, Dave. So I'm responding to the question you had about what Harry Potter house we think Katie is. I'm going to venture out and say Gryffindor because she's very dedicated to her values and has a strong value system. And is very loyal to those she cares about and is very courageous. And she tends to do what the right thing is, even if it's not for her benefit or doesn't want credit for it necessarily, as seen when she went by herself after the group date to talk to Matt James.
Good point.
So that would be my thoughts on that. And then for me, I'm a Hufflepuff.
Hufflepuff.
Part Gryffindor, like the way it breaks down is I think I'm part Gryffindor, part Slytherin, I think my lowest was Slytherin. But anyway, hope you have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you so much for the call. How sweet. Can you be part one, part the other? I thought you had to be in a house. You can't. Women love to do this. I'm an introvert, but I'm an extrovert. What's your love language? I like quality time and acts of service and everything. It's like, which are you? So you say you're part Hufflepuff, part Gryffindor. Listen, I've watched all the Harry Potters over quarantine. I had never seen it before. I've never seen Lord of the Rings. I've never seen Avatar. I'm sheltered, okay? If I didn't catch the first, Fast and the Furious, I'm not going to watch the next 12 Fast and the Furious. It's just not going to happen. But I did enjoy watching Harry Potter. They are all available right now on the Peacock app, which is actually free to sign up. I'm not saying this like I've got some affiliate link. It's free to sign up for the Peacock app. But you got to watch them with commercials. Now, a 3-hour movie, there's 3 commercials. It's not a big deal. I mean, I got a commercial every 10 seconds. Every time, I sneeze, I got a commercial here. Papa's got to buy Tasha some new Harry Potter merchandise. It ain't cheap. You know what I mean? A couple of butter beers at the store is going to cost you $50. So anyway, let's see what Mike has to say. He's got some Harry Potter love.
Hey, Dave. My name is Monica. I'm from New York City.
Monica.
Love the Harry Potter house idea. So I had to weigh in. Chris Harrison got to be a Slytherin, right? He's just a complete chaos agent and is definitely trying to concoct evil plans at every step. Let's see. Blake, I feel like with his guilelessness, his absolute guilelessness, he's got to be a Hufflepuff. At first I thought Gryffindor, but to be a Gryffindor, you have to be kind of scared to overcome your fears, with bravery. He just doesn't even give any fucks, so he can't really be brave. He just doesn't care, Let's see, who else? Andrew S., gives me real Fred and George vibes, so I'm going to say Gryffindor. I think that's all I got. Love this game. All right, thanks.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Katie in New York City. Did you say Katie or... I'm sorry, did you say Monica? Let me listen to that again.
Hey, Dave. My name is Monica.
Monica, sorry. It does these auto text, and it said it was Mike, and I was like, I know that's not a Mike. Monica, thank you so much. I love the joy people have towards the Harry Potter franchise. Like I said, I'm the type, as a comic, I'm going to shit on whatever's, popular and in mainstream. So I'm going to make fun of Harry Potter, this or that, but... I mean, with my fiance Tasha, she's got Harry Potter merchandise. She's got all the cups. I remember when I asked her if I could borrow one of the cups. She had every house had a cup, and she was looked at me ooh, I don't know if I can trust you. And I was like, oh, this means something to you? I didn't understand. But now I see it. Now I totally get. She read all the books growing up, and that was kind of her escape to a new reality, a new like magical world. So I totally respect that. Tasha, when her brother was in town, they went to Universal where they have the Harry Potter ride. Or I'm sorry, theme park area where they got butterbeer and 1,000-calorie milkshakes or whatever the case may be, and really enjoyed themselves. When we go on a family reunion this fall to Orlando, we're gonna go to the Harry Potter universe there. So I'll be flying around with my wizardry magic with a cape and everything. Not like I said, not that I've got any extra joy towards the series, but I think what you realize early on into a relationship is whatever your partner's into, the easiest thing to do is just go all in on that. It's like with Tasha, it's like, look, you don't have to love baseball, but you might as well learn how it's being played if you're going to come watch me play. You know what I mean? Like, let's invest a little bit. So with Tasha, I told someone else this. There's certain things that she loves. Harry Potter, and that's the big one. If we have Harry Potter themed bed sheets. And I don't laugh at it like it's stupid. I think it's sweet. And you know how it is when relatives find out that you like something, they'll get you that for Christmas because it's easy. So it's I think for Valentine's Day one year, Alex and Ani had Harry Potter like bangles or earrings or something, and I got her those, and that was a big hit. Did I get this one? I don't know if I might have played this one on Thursday's live stream. Let's have a listen. I'm not really sure. Hold on here. Let's hit the button.
So I think that the Harry Potter idea of sorting some of the contestants into houses is a great idea. I think it would be really, really fun if we were able to do a little quiz, like ahead of time, where people can, cast their votes on which house certain contestants could be in.
Yeah.
And then during maybe a live or another video, we could go over the results. That way we get a lot of people say who are Potter fans and whatnot. Anyway, love the show. Have a great day. Bye.
Yeah, isn't that funny? The Bachelor universe and the Harry Potter universe, both very loyal, and there's a lot of crossover. All right, yeah, that's a good idea. I should get a proper poll done, maybe on my Instagram or something, because everyone was like, Chris Harrison's a Slytherin, but then he's actually not, and then people were saying Carl Smith is a Slytherin because. Or no, Carl Smith was like Snape because you think they're bad and then he ends up being right. I don't know, guys. There's so much room for interpretation on all of it. But what would I be? Someone let me know. All right, let's go over. Oh, here's Natalie. Natalie called in from Canada. As we know, Natalie and her lovely husband, Derek, sent in ketchup, potato chips, along with some other very nice gifts. We always appreciate that.
Good morning, Dave. And of course, hello, Tasha, as well. This is Natalie calling from Medicine Hat, but calling you from the middle of the Rocky Mountains. We have very light service, we'll call it. So I call, I watch your videos when I get a chance. I just wanted to say, and you don't have to play this voicemail, it's just a little bit of feedback.
I'm playing it.
Good feedback, I hope. We were driving out here, and we were binge watching you guys' old podcasts, and they were super, super helpful. Dare I say, not because you guys are like professional dating experts or marriage experts, but because you guys are so relatable and real. We really appreciate you putting yourselves out there and having those hard conversations and then airing them to the world. But also, when we ran out of service and we had really nothing to do technology-wise, we decided to make our own podcast.
Wow.
Now, don't get too excited because we're not going to post it anywhere, but we just decided, hey, let's play with this. This is fun. And what we learned from that is, especially when we listened back, is we were able to, we had to have those hard conversations with somebody else listening.
Yes. That's it.
Knowing that somebody else could be listening.
Yes.
And so there was no actual hardcore fighting or anything because
Civility.
we, had to take the earmuffs or earphones off. I don't even know what I'm saying there. But then listening to it back as well was really therapeutic for our relationship because we could identify in ourselves what we were doing wrong.
Wow.
And we were just forced to talk about things that we didn't want to talk about. So the point of my call is that I think, thank you guys for putting yourself out there on podcasts and encouraging or inspiring, I should say, others to maybe do the same. And I just want to say how therapeutic it was. And I encourage anybody that might be going through some hard stuff to do a podcast type thing with the idea that other people may be listening, and then listen back to it and just kind of hear.
Oh, sorry. Keep going.
I know I realized that I talk way too much and I overtalk my husband, and he realized by listening that he doesn't say enough. So anyways, I just wanted to thank you guys. And I know this is a long voicemail, so no need to play it, especially since I had no idea what I was going to say.
I'm playing it, baby.
But just wanted to give you guys that feedback and hope you guys have an amazing holiday. I thought I was going to be working the whole time. Service kind of stopped me. However,
Nice.
I'm taking the time for me, and I hope you guys do the exact same thing and enjoy each other. Have a blast. Take care. Bye-bye.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much, Natalie and Derek. Podcasting, you hit the nail on the head. Now, I don't necessarily know if I suggest this for everyone, but yeah, the fact that you could literally, if you wanted to, get a podcast hosting site that's free. Like the one I use is $20 a month. I just give money away for my podcast. I don't make a penny on it. But there are apps you can use where you could literally keep it private so no one even has to listen to it, but log these conversations. And yeah, you learn a lot about yourself, because we know, you and I and everyone else, we know we are operating we're altruistic. We want the best. But we don't always communicate it that way. So a podcast does add civility to a conversation. It's like no internet trolls are because there is no civility, because there's no face to it. There's no proper benefit of the doubt. But when, if I'm going to cut Tasha off and like railroad her on the podcast, I'm going to get messages from people going, hey man, like shame on you. You didn't behave right, and likewise back at me. And we've had times where we've had to end the conversation and not air stuff. So we're not perfect. There's been times where Tasha's like, I'll like press her, or I'll think we're having fun, and then sometimes it'll go too far and she'll be like, I'm out, I'm done. I'm like, oh, hold on. So by all means, it's not perfect, but I do appreciate you checking that out. All of the old episodes, 400 and something. I added a new one today, so 447. I call this one Dating Advice Shark Tank style, and I'll also show the Patreon. Let me see if I can find it over here. I put the video version of this on Patreon. The audio you can listen for free, but for all the people that want to donate, you can go to the Patreon for that, and I'll show you that in a second. And that's Shark Tank style of dating. A lot of people ask me the same questions. What's some dating advice? What can I do in today's world? This and that. And I give people the same sort of blanket answer. You need to get your stock as high as humanly possible, as far as like self-love, mind, body, and soul. So putting good food, good nutrition, good, like not toxifying yourself with TikTok and Instagram and everyone else's success stories. Work on your own projects, work on your own love, water your own plants. I go in deeper into all of this, but the idea is if you can be taking care of yourself that much, it's impossible for other people not to notice that. They're going to notice that. They're going to notice your the spring in your step because of all the ambition you have, because you're building equity in your own dreams and you're driven. And who wouldn't want to be with someone like that? And I said this, which is pretty shocking maybe to some people, but I feel like if you're in a shitty relationship, if you're in a place where you don't think you're with a good person, the fact of the matter is, due to the law of attraction, you're as bad, you're as uninspired as that person is. It doesn't mean you don't have the ability to be better, but in that moment, all of your energy is potential. All of the good you could do is potential. If you're in a rut in a bad place, you need to figure out how to get out of that place. So here's the Patreon. You can go to patreon.com/thisapp if you want to check that out. I'm sorry, I changed the name for it. Patreon.com/Dave Neal. I changed the name of the Patreon, but you can get all of the access to the videos. And for the people that are out there that have said, there's some people that have said that they're recovering and in surgeries and they have medical bills and they can't afford the Patreon. My heart goes out with you. All of the podcasts are available, audio version only, for free, anywhere you listen to a podcast. Just search this app or go to sexactuallypodcast.com. But Natalie, very happy to hear you guys recorded an episode. So much can be learned just from listening, adding that extra sense and taking a step back. And I got to tell you, beyond a doubt, it saved my relationship. It saved us from points where we didn't know how to communicate, and we still struggle with that. But by knowing our styles, even if we don't always hit perfectly on how to communicate well, we at least know what to look out for and triggers and this and that. It's really helped us out. It's communication, it's all about the longer you're with someone and truly start to understand how other people vibe, the better and easier it can become. That's why, like best friends, it's effortless, right? That's why people on winning sports teams, they have this synergy. Like they can all just think and act together and have all this trust. And while we do have that in good relationships, we also have the ego that can really just cut to us and put up our wall of defenses. And while that's there to protect us, in a lot of cases, it just gets in the way. So thank you so much for that call. And let's see who we have here.
Hey, Dave, it's Sarai.
Oh, Sarai.
Sorry. First off, have an amazing time, you and Tasha. You've earned it. You deserve it. You both have.
Thank you.
You need to put yourself first for once. So have an amazing time and don't work too hard on your time off. And then also, in regards to the Ashley I video that you did, I have, sorry for the bird. I'm a doghouse with a way about bird. But people have always asked me when I'm going to have kids. And I tell them I don't want to have kids. And then my mom always asks me, so you're going to change your mind? Or she's always trying to say, you're going to change your mind. I'm like, no, I'm not. I don't want kids. My kids are my cat, my client, my dog client, my cat client. Those are my kids. I don't want kids. If I wanted kids by now, I would have had them. But I just don't want them. And people always try to change my mind. And that's just one of my biggest peeves is when they think just because they have kids, you want to have kids too. Well, I don't. But anyway, that is just my little rant. All right, have an amazing trip. All right, bye.
Thank you so much, Sarai. Now, chances are you're listening to this while I'm either A, out of the country, B, in the country, which means something horrible went wrong, or C, I died. Now, I don't imagine I'm dead right now, but that would be kind of crazy if like my plane crashed in the Bermuda, or the Bermuda Triangle, and this is the last video they have, and it's like, what was the last thing Dave talked about? Well, he talked about Harry Potter and The Bachelor. We'll be fine. But thank you so much for all the well wishes. And yeah, it's funny because people say, well, once you have a baby, everything changes. Well, if you don't have a baby, then things don't change. So I get that when you have a kid or get pregnant, you go into a different priority mode where you're like providing for someone else, and it makes you think differently and all that. Yeah, I mean, that logically that all makes sense. But also, we live in a world with 8 trillion people, trillion, right? Or billion, 8 billion people. It's a lot of people. And like the race that has no shortage of people. And, I think people that don't have kids should get some sort of tax incentive, just like a green, I don't know. And again, that's just not to say like we plan on having kids. I think we'll have kids. We're not exactly in a rush, but we're also not exactly young. But with that said, yeah, you're commenting regarding the Ashley I video where she and, Jared are pregnant, but like she was like, oh, we tried for 5 months. It was hard. It was like 5 months. Some people try, some people it can be a process, and it's your heart goes out to people that are trying to have kids that can't, and this and that. But yeah, it's weird the sort of projections you feel that people put onto you to be like, oh, when are you gonna do this? When are you gonna do that? It's like, when are you gonna mind your own business? All right, let's go to another friendly face in the District of Columbia. It's Grace.
Hey Dave, it's Grace from DC. I'll try to keep this quick. I knew you were trying to get voicemails in. I was catching up with a friend in regards to the Bachelorette, and she asked me this afternoon basically like, what did you think about that Andrew S. situation from a few weeks ago, since she knows I've been in interracial relationships before? She was like, wasn't that horrible, the thing that his ex-girlfriend said to him in regards to, I'm so sorry. Oh no, I'm going to call back since this isn't live. I'm going to call back.
I'm sorry. That's the one I got. Oh, you did call back. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Let's go back to Grace. Grace, you can call back as many times as you want. It's always good to hear from you. Let's hit the button here. Forgive me. Here we go. Take 2.
Noticed you're looking for some voicemails to get some content out before vacation. And I was actually chatting with a friend, catching up on the Bachelorette this afternoon. And she asked me actually what I thought about Andrew S.'s one-on-one date, and him mentioning that his ex, was uncomfortable with potentially, being in an interracial relationship and having children who are biracial, and people making comments out in public. And she was like, she knows that I've been in interracial relationships before. And she was like, didn't that upset you? Like, wasn't that a horrible thing to say? And yeah, I get that that's what was Katie's initial reaction. And obviously, like, I do feel really bad that this woman put Andrew S. through this, especially after 3 years of being together. But I gotta say, my initial reaction to this was, you know what? Like, there are places, I live in DC, but there are places in Virginia I will no longer go because I've had people make racist comments to me when I was out with my Black boyfriend at the time.
Wow.
One at a 7-Eleven, one at a Wendy's. So while 3 years into a relationship is extremely inappropriate timing to start addressing this, racism does exist in this country, and it does bring extra challenges to being in an interracial relationship. And when people talk about what does it really mean to put in the work, having these conversations at the beginning of a relationship and being honest that certain things have crossed your mind, maybe because you come from a very different background or a community that is not diverse, or you've been socialized as a woman your entire life to think that, your partner and your family should look and be a certain way and you should like procreate these mini-me's. Absolutely. When I first started dating Black men, did these things cross my mind? Yes. Did I do a lot of work to communicate with my partner and understand how I can be a better, anti-racist person and an ally to them? Yeah, that's part of doing the work. And then additionally, what I told my friend is that I do kind of have a hard time believing that this whole like grocery store analogy was the main thing that caused this relationship to end. We don't know the context in which they had been operating for 3 years, and we don't know the background and the group of people that these people were surrounded by. We saw with Harry and Meghan that, comments like this can be coming from close family and friends. And maybe this girl just didn't have the balls to tell Andrew what was really going on. And some of the concerns people had said to her, and some of the pressure.
All right, it cut you off, and let's finish you off on the next one.
I'm so sorry, Dave. It cut me off on the last one. Just to quickly wrap it up, I wonder if this girl made up this grocery store analogy to protect and prevent Andrew S. from, having additional trauma and learning what was really going on in the situation. That was just my take, because it didn't seem like it really added up. And I think that's why people were so angry to hear, and Katie included, to hear about this situation. Just didn't have enough context, didn't add up. But I'm really glad that they're having these conversations on The Bachelor. And I would just be curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I don't think you've done an extensive video or talk about this before. I hope you have a great vacation, and looking forward to catching up with you again when you're back and rested. Thanks, Dave. Bye.
Grace, thank you so much. I always enjoy the insight you bring in. So many people just all over the world really bring such unique, compassionate stories, and provide so much room for empathy and growth. What's crazy is the growth that we all receive. Like, I consider myself a guy that wants to make people laugh. I want to have fun. I have had to learn my own like social place with all of that, with regards to like, you look at the Reality Steve videos where you realize that like we all come from a place, right? We all come from like whatever you don't think you're being ignorant when you do something ignorant. You look in hindsight and you go, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? And I think of scenarios like that. Today, a lady sent me a DM from Nigeria, and she goes, I live in Nigeria. Do you really think this is true? And she tagged me in an old video of mine. And I was like, I go, I see on the roll, it says it's 172 weeks old or whatever the case may be. And I'm doing the math. I'm like, shit. I was like, oh, and I played on it, and I was only kidding, but I was like, oh, I was talking about one of the contestants was from Nigeria, and I think it was, I don't know, this was years ago, so it might have been the guy Lincoln who ended up getting who was actually hit a felony, and it was a big deal. They kind of tried to erase him from the show. They didn't invite him to the Men Tell All. But the point is I was like, oh, he's going to America where he can bang a white chick and, live out his American dream and this. And clearly I was having one of those USA moments where I'm like, overly doing it. But I was like, oh man, to think that it wasn't in my line of sight to wonder what a Nigerian woman or any woman of color would think when I was rooting this guy on because he's going to go bang a white chick. Now, my mindset, and that of a lot of ignorant people, was making fun of this, good for you, right on you, you made it, American pie, bang it, but I understand now that there's some equal and opposite reaction to that, where you go, oh man, I couldn't take it down soon enough and just tell her hey man, I get why you're messaging me, and I appreciate that. This is cringeworthy, and I apologize. And it shouldn't be on someone else's dime to come have those come to Jesus moments, but it's sometimes on someone else's dime if you're in a relationship or something. So with Andrew, the voicemail what you're referencing here is that he told Katie in their last one-on-one, or maybe it was a solo moment in a group date, whatever the case was, that he dated someone who after a couple of years was asking, what are the kids going to look like, type of deal, which is kind of what happened with Meghan Markle, where she said the royal family was do you know what are the kids going to look like? And you can almost see the side of that means well, if you wanted to look at it that way. That's well, we just want to know what, we're going to try, whatever. But then there's so much the weaponized in weight that goes with that those conversations. And again, with Andrew, I don't know. I didn't get from the tone of his conversation that he thought his ex was some bad person, but it definitely was oh, there was a lot of ignorance there. A lot of you don't want to be in a relationship and have to be their shaman. You don't want to have to be their entrance into this world. You just want someone who gets you. And that's what's tough. That's what's tough, because, if you love someone enough, then maybe you can work through it, but there can be so much friction between family members that, so to go 3 years without addressing those things, as crazy and wild as that sounds, maybe if that lady is in the next relationship, she kind of has those conversations off the bat. Maybe she was in too deep and not realizing I need to know all these things. So for you, Grace, to call in and talk about that as hey, this needs to be something that people know to have these conversations. That's very important. I don't think people want to push off difficult conversations. I just think some things are just taboo enough, or you don't know how the conversation's supposed to go, so you avoid it. And that just kicks the can down the road. And when you're dealing with someone else, you don't want to lead anyone else on too long. I don't know how else to address that. I know this is a little different. There's so many small, when you talk about microaggressions, there's so many micro topics, not to say that they carry little weight, but so many little different things when it comes to either interracial relationships. With the tweets from Justin, there was a lot of discussion we had about colorism. The idea that darker skinned Black people had a rough journey because they had to pass certain tests to get employment, or lack thereof. They were working more hard labor and manual jobs and couldn't go to college. It was all because in all these colonized different worlds, it was better to be on the whiter side of things. And it's important to acknowledge that all existed, so people like you and myself and others can talk about this and at least all be on the same page to be this has been a problem and it still is. Let's not hide our heads in the sand, or else we don't even admit that there's a problem. Let's admit that there's a problem here so we can work on fixing it. I wonder if there'll be any more conversations with Andrew regarding race on the show as far as an interracial relationship goes, and we'll have to see. We'll have to see about that. But thank you so much for the call, Grace. I really appreciate it. I think this is our last voicemail, so let's go for it. Last voicemail here from Texas.
Hi, Dave. I am from Texas, and I had a question for you about dating advice.
Sure.
I don't ask a lot of friends because they think it's kind of a, I don't know, traumatic area, but it's just actually my life. I'm 32, and I'm raising a little girl on my own. My husband passed away when I was pregnant, and she's 2.5 now, so it's been a while. I'm
Wow.
sure I'm ready to date. But I put a lot of weight on while I was pregnant and then got depressed and never took it off. And I'm in the middle of losing weight, and people are trying to hook me up, with guys, and I don't want to date because of the weight, and they think it's just because of the way that I look. But the truth is I've never been overweight, so I feel like I'm not in my vessel, and I'm not my healthiest self. And if I'm not my healthiest self, then I'm not ready to date yet, especially when, I feel like I'm 6 months away from my goal. They think maybe it's denial. I think it's being realistic, but I could use an outside point of view. Thanks. Bye.
Well, what a voicemail to end on. You got me blown away. When I was making content about Michael A. and his situation, losing his wife to cancer, raising a small child, you go, I don't even know how they function, right? And to hear a story like yours, your phone call, so sweet, to hear the tragedy that you have gone through, and yet your energy is on the end of improving who you are. You know what I mean? You're walking out of the valley of darkness. Good on you. I don't know what advice I can give you that's gonna get you where you're going faster, because it looks like you're well on your way. I would say this: whenever I deal with anything like any buts in my life, well, I want to do this, but, well, I want to do that, but, a but is always a limitation. Not an ass. A but, a beauty is always a limitation. And it doesn't mean it's not true, but a limitation is true because you speak it into existence, right? So you don't want to date because you're not at your goal weight. Well, saying you're not at your goal weight is a limitation towards maybe finding love again. And not to put too much weight on finding love right away, but but getting yourself out there is something. My mom left my dad when she was pregnant with me. So very, very different scenario to whatever you're going through, but also very much the same in the sense that my mom had my sister and myself. We were Irish twins. So my sister was 9 months old. My mom was pregnant with me, and my sister and I are 11 months apart. So leaves my father, realizes, this is not working. My father had post-traumatic stress from Vietnam, all these other issues, has since passed away. I met him when I was 20. So I grew up without my father, essentially dead in my life. And my mom had to do it all on her own. Didn't meet my stepdad till I was 10. So for 10 years, she started to date some people, but my mom struggled with her weight. And my sister also has 4 kids. And after the second or third, I could never keep weight off. When you see the kids with the, little hot dogs and macaroni, I'm eating all the scraps. Absolutely, how tough it could be. I would say this with regards to you talking about your vessel not being the one that you want it to be. And I'm sure you're already doing this, but I would just try your best to love your body every day. That doesn't always mean you accept it for what it is or where it is, but you can love that body because that's taking you to the next step. That's taking you to the next step of weight loss. And while the numbers on the scale might not be where you want them to be, we've all got our own little struggles. You'll be far better off doing it through love than you will be doing it through hatred when you look in the mirror. Not to say that you're doing that. It sounds like you are raising a child who's going to have a pretty kick-ass mom and, a 2.5-year-old child, right? That's you've got so much life left to live and places to go that I wouldn't, you said you're 6 months away from your goal weight. Start swinging that bat. Maybe you need to go through 6 months of bad dates or hanging out, going to a singles night or whatever the case might be. I wouldn't wait till you feel like you're at perfection. Perfection's the enemy of good. You might find that you meet some cool guys along the way that you're not right for, but they help you along your journey. Please call back. I'd love to hear more from you. You really touched my heart. Everyone who called in today for a different reason or another has really, has been special to me. So thank you guys so much for all the calls. And I'm truly sorry if I didn't give you any really good advice. I would just say, look for the limitation. Look for the areas in which you're making excuses, whether it is to protect yourself from getting out there again, or whatever the case might be. Your child will respect and appreciate you more when you're pursuing love and when you're pursuing your own passions. But I think you're on the right path. I mean, you said you were overweight and you're 6 months away from your goal weight. Just keep on, sharing that love. As far as the other specific goals, I mean, I don't know. Call me back and ask any specific questions. But I don't know what you're looking for in the dating world, whether it's going to be, some online dating. It might be fun just to get out there with some online dating and, just to get chatting with people. I think that might be fun for you. But anyway, thank you so much for that voicemail. Thank you to everyone else. I mean, I'm recording this late at night on Friday night. We're catching a flight. We're leaving for the airport in about 4 hours. So I got some packing to do and all that jazz. But the point being, my voice is a little hoarse. I've been making content all day, but I appreciate you guys so much. So if you're still watching this, just know your boy appreciates you. I love these voicemail videos. I don't know what the live stream schedule is going to be this coming week. I'll be away. I don't know what the electricity is going to be. I might have good Wi-Fi, so I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'll be in the central time zone. But anyway, folks, thank you all for your well wishes. I appreciate you guys so much. It takes a lot of guts, balls, ovaries. It takes a lot of gumption to call in to a stranger. So I respect that you trusted me with your stories and your words. So to Natalie and Monica and our friend in Texas, and Grace in DC, and who else did I forget? Was there a guy in there? I thought maybe there wasn't a guy in there. Lindsay from Kansas City. Did I get everyone? Anyway, thank you guys all so much. I really appreciate it. We'll catch you guys next time. Bye, everybody.